take these big fights in a lot of scenarios. It's okay, we're actually running around trying to catch up with what Wind and Rain are doing, and that's how they'll end up picking up these early objectives. So I think they've got a pretty good read on how they want to play the game, and it's quite difficult for Hyperion unless they can try and get some sort of control or semblance of control in this early game to be able to shut down what Wind and Rain want to do.
We'll have to wait and see, but ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the Rift, or onto picks and bans anyway, for Hyperion versus Wind and Rain for our Game 1 of the ESL Premiership 2018 Spring Split. We see Xayah, Ryze, actually something that we didn't even really touch on at all. Ryze got a huge buff just with the amount of, you know, kind of AP items that just synergize and work with him. Talia, again, another roaming mid laner that's very, very good. I just want to know, you know, where else can you ban apart from mid lane, as we see another one, Orianna?
Yeah, I think it is going to be certainly mid lane focused in a lot of these scenarios with the bans. I mean, Ryze, very impressive. Talia is just a ban against Godbro in particular, who's done absolutely stunningly whenever he can get his hands on that champion. So we're going to be looking mostly towards that. We're seeing a lot more of the control mages coming through as well. The likes of the Cassiopeia, the Victor, the Galio as well as there. So getting these guys off the table is going to be a lot better. I'm most interested though to see what these junglers decide to go with. It's been fascinating watching this meta of Jungle Evolve, where we've got Skarner coming up as the top pick. You've kind of got Olaf coming through as well. But this means that there's still like a huge amount of playing. The Sejuani's still up there, but they are going to be locking in the Skarner. This is being kind of the top tier pick now, going with that Predator style in the jungle. Just means it's so difficult to play around where you can just grab one of your carries and bring them back into the team. It's why we've seen something like Tam Kench rise to prominence as well, when we see the Skarner picked up on the other side, attempt to gobble them up and devour them before they can be launched back into the enemy team. But we'll have to see if they do decide to lock that in. Right now, it's going to be the Camille most likely going for Rift in the top lane alongside the Ezreal, who has again come back because he's got that little mid-game power spike where you pick up that Triforce. You've got that damage coming through as they're starting to tend towards these fights around the dragons, around the Baron in particular as well. Going to see the Varus locked in on the opposite side as well. So wouldn't be surprised now to see them maybe pick up a strong support for themselves. Or what you can also do is, if you're on the side of Wind and Rain, lock in that Scion for yourself as this last pick and then ban away the counter picks and just make sure that you get that strong top lane matchup for yourself.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like I said, you know, Volibear's still on the table. I wouldn't mind seeing, you know, Dan XD go for that. It's kind of a similar playstyle to what he's, you know, what he likes going towards. We see the Zac as the last pick on the first rotation of picks and bans for the side of Wind and Rain, along with the Varus and Braum for Hyperion. So, in terms of a draft right now, we're seeing a lot of kind of, you know, it hasn't changed super much from the 8.3 meta, but it's definitely got those little things. Like, honestly, I think right now, if you're Hyperion, you put Volibear in that top lane, because I feel like it can... There's not a lot you can lose. You know, let's call a spade a spade. Wind and Rain are the higher team, or the more skillful team, especially, you know, if you look at the tournament results. But you just gotta roll the dice, go for something crazy, and I think the Volibear could be it.
Yeah, it most certainly could, but they've got a lot of options there as well. So there's not really pressure on them to pick it up at the moment. You've still got the Poppy that can go up there that we were chatting about already. And you've still got some of these big beefy tanks in the top lane as well, like that. The Scion, the Shen. There's a lot of stuff that can do quite well into the Camille at the moment, which is why I'm surprised to see such heavy pressure onto this Camille pick as well. But we will have to see what they decide to go to. Again, on the side of Wind and Rain, we're seeing this pressure on the mid lane. Now the Cassiopeia and the Xerath gone as well. So most likely they'll be picking up something for Godbro. Now, in a lot of these scenarios, he has tended back towards that Echo pick in the mid lane, but there's still a huge amount there. Vladimir is still there. We're still looking at, I was going to say, TF has seen a little bit of a rise in competitive, where he's gone for a slightly different style of build order, particularly with these new items coming through. So this is something we could definitely see brought in, and something that suits Godbro incredibly well, where he tends to go for these roaming plays, setting up his bot lane incredibly well, working with Manny and Lebrov, but they're going to be going back to the old favorite of Azir instead.
Yeah, Azir, very well known in those late game siege kind of situations to 2-hit or 3-hit carries and all sides of this coin. So definitely something you want to go for. But do they go with Twisted Fate? Now that's the trade-off. Do you go with the roaming support, like you said, to help out the side waves, or go with the Cassidy, which seems like a far more reasonable pick? Unfortunately, we will not see the Twisted Fate, despite EU Twisted, you know, having the name. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it at least once. I hope at the end of the season, like, we have like one match where like they just go absolutely crazy. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait for that.
Well, see, I actually really like the Cassidy pick here because if you look at the side of Wind and Rain, who's really protecting the back line? I mean, yes, you'll have the Azir that can come through with the Emperor's Divide, but that does very little for a Cassidy who's going to be able to jump several times over that line. And looking at the supports that are there, Tam's off the board, Brom's already been picked up, Tarek's gone as well. A lot of the protection is already there, so I think I'd like to see them maybe pick up something like a Janna or an Alistair that offers something of that disengage. So they're hovering the Alistair at the moment, which will help out a little bit, but when you've got the Castle and also the Shen now locked in as well, it means that then you've got double dive potential coming through. You can have the Castle go in with the Shen ultimate on top of them, and you've got a delivery directly into the back line. And this is something that Wind and Rain will struggle with if we end up going towards these fights, because there's not really a way for them to deal with them. Yes, you've got the Alistair can knock them out once, Emperor's Divide, but it's a lot of people tunneling in on your back line. So it'll be on Maddie attempting to arcane shift away alongside Godbro, positioning himself in such a way that it's going to be quite difficult for Cassin or Shen to get into these fights. But this is, if we're seeing Hyperion play the style that has become slightly meta at the LCS level. But right now, it looks like they're actually tending towards a slightly different style than what we've seen. They're looking towards more this 1-3-1 style that was so special on 8.3, where you're going to be looking at that Shen, split pushing alongside the castle in the bottom side of the map, and looking to tear through your structures as you're trying to set up this vision control around the Baron, around the Dragon. And you've got a huge amount of engage and disengage as well coming through from the three remaining members that are there, the Skarner, the Varus, the Brom. These guys have excellent ults that can both engage and disengage at the same time. Varus can throw down those chains of corruptions and stop the rest of Wind and Rain from getting on top of them. The same with the Glacial Fissure coming through from the Brom. And if you actually have an advantage or lead in the early game, Hyperion can pressure that super hard with this 1-3-1, using the Skarner as the dive potential to try and shut down Wind and Rain as they try to make their moves around the map. But we'll have to see if it actually gets to that stage. Wind and Rain have been doing phenomenally well in the early stages of the game. They have a very nice power point around about that 2 item with the Azir, with the Ezra there as well, working up from the Manamune towards that Triforce as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys really try and kick it into gear when you've got that double Triforce power spike, especially with the Camille, who will be picking that item up as well. There's a lot of scary damage that can come through and a lot of burst that can come down as well if Hyperion Esports end up on the wrong side of it.
We'll have to wait and see. But having seen the two team comps, having seen the two teams so far, I'm going to ask you, who are you favoring right now? And who do you think, who do you think's going to come out with the victory? And if I was to throw my sense in, just given form, it's got to be Wind and Rain. But I want to know what you think.
Yeah, I 100% am on the same side as you there, Blood Penguin. Wind and Rain have just been playing absolutely phenomenally. They even took it to Misfits, and unfortunately, everything went a bit awry in the last few minutes of their game against them. But other than that, you could see the potential that this team has and that they can take down the top team that everyone is looking to beat at the moment. So Hyperion Gaming just haven't been able to hit that same level just yet. But, I mean, this is where they need to throw everything at them, everything in the kitchen sink, because otherwise there isn't really much hope of these guys advancing. So I'm hoping to see something special, maybe something a little bit cheesy in this early game, but with the champions that they have at the moment, it's going to be kind of difficult to do so.
We'll have to wait and see how both sides play this game. But ladies and gentlemen, it is, of course, time for our first game of the evening. ESL Premiership Week 5 Spring Season 2018. Hyperion on the blue with Wind and Rain on the red. God, bro, can he continue to be a god, bro? Can he? That's gotta be. Do you even God, bro? That's gotta be. I said this on Sunday as well. That's gotta be how he came up with his summoner name. It was just like, you're a god, bro. And then he was just like, yup. And then it was just pure. Yeah, it's just perfect. It's so perfect. That was but one thing that we haven't mentioned, and I think it's a very, very important thing. We have Dan versus Dan. This is the battle of the Dans is finally here.
I love it. Who is going to be Dan numero uno at the end of this game? It's going to be the real question.
Dan, is it going to be the actual Dan or Dan XD? Yeah. Does he roar at him and tell him it means I love you in dinosaur? Is that how it is?
No, he types to an asterisk telling him everything he's doing in the game. Come on.
Oh, good God. Yes, we'll have to wait and see how both teams go with this. I am excited to see kind of Hyperion with their newly found roster. If you guys don't know and you're wondering why there's a couple of different kind of setups and stuff like that, we are seeing a mid-season transfer window come in for the ESL Premiership in the League of Legends this year. So we have got a couple of swap outs. So you see the likes of Demo coming into the jungle and Emmy as well into the mid lane for the likes of Hyperion. So they were one of the more busier teams. So I want to see if, you know, the week or two that they've had to kind of work with each other has actually help them out.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, and that's the kind of the trade-off when we're looking towards these mid-season transfers. Is great, we might be able to pick up some new players, but how are we really going to sync together? Because it's something that's a little bit overlooked sometimes, is how well you can actually synergize as a team. And hopefully these guys have got all the knots tied out though, and making sure that we should be well set up going into these fights.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Demo already up to this top side. Rift is going to be forced to flash. That's good early pressure. You talked about the kind of aggression you can have with the Skarner, especially early on in the game. So we see both Ignites going down. Labrov taking a good chunk of health. And Hyperion, they're coming out a little bit more on top from these trades.
Yeah, they are just slightly coming out on top, but it's not going to be the end of the road right now. There's still a lot of time for these guys to farm up, chill out for a little bit and get back to a stage where they're pretty happy. But you can see already how much pressure Dan XD is trying to put down onto Rift, although he is taking the worst end of that trade right now with Demo heading up towards the top.
Yeah, but all corrupting potions now done for Camille, so the sustain as such is gone. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what they transition that into, if anything at all. Demo putting a lot of resources early into this top side. They don't want the Camille to take over. They don't want the Camille to get to that unkillable, undealable moment. Otherwise, they're just going to not have anything to do in this game.
I'm looking to see as well how much pressure these guys want to put towards the bottom side of the map. That Mountain Drake is up, and as we're talking about already, particularly on the side of Hyperion, when you're looking towards these tanks like the Shen, and I'm going to be blue in the face talking about this by the end of this, is that Banner of Command. And when you're looking to try and take these Barons, which is kind of the way you close out the game with that Banner of Command, that Siege minion there, you want to try and pick up these early Mountain Drakes to make sure that you're able to run with it and able to get enough damage down to try and take that objective as quickly as possible. So this is where we're going to see a slight deviation in the two strategies coming through from these teams. It's going to be Dan XD when he hits that level 6 point, trying to use the Stand United to really get down there and help out his team. But we'll have to see if they are going to be able to do so, because right now Wind and Rain are putting the pressure in on the bottom side of the map and on the mid lane as well. You can see that they're consistently shoving in their lanes here, making sure that there's not much roam potential or pressure around the map for these global objectives on Hyperion's side.
And honestly, it's going to come down to who engages better, but I feel like Wind and Rain, they're kind of, you know, they've so much engaged. Maybe a little bit of utility mightn't have been too bad for them, but they have so many ways. As I say, it's a bad thing and a good thing, because they have so many ways of getting in and starting fights. Camille with the Hextech Ultimatum. You've got the Let's Bounce and the Elastic Slingshot from Zac. The Emperor's Divide from Azir, if well placed, can do massive amounts for your team. And then just Alistair in general is just such a CC machine that it's just very, very difficult to see. It's going to be very much on Hyperion to not get caught out by these massive amounts of engages, and then for them to find the taunt, the impale, the slight bits of engage that they have. And I'm just curious to see how it all comes down. But we do have a pause, ladies and gentlemen. We do apologize for this. We obviously having issues with one of the players, and we're hopefully going to be back into game very, very soon. But so far, it's pretty even. I don't honestly see any team coming out with a significant advantage apart from that one flash up in top lane.
Yeah, this is kind of the stalemate point that we're at the moment. Everyone kind of needs to hit their level. I mean, when you're looking at Caston, he's just picked up the tier. The Ezra's just picked up the tier. These guys are going to want to hold on until they can actually get some fighting material in them. They want to get those items and make sure that they're actually going to be useful in these fights that are coming up. So at the moment, they just want to take it easy. You can see as well, Varus has gone with that Doran Shield, now back and pick up the pickaxe. But across the board, it's just going to be a case of taking it easy. It's mostly on this top side of the map that I'm going to be looking at. It's if they can get this Camille to continuously use her TP to get up towards the top side of the map, well, then you've opened up yourselves to try and utilize the Shen ultimate in the best possible advantage, particularly when you're looking at Demo, who can go in with that Impale and just drag you straight back in. It's very difficult to play around that when you're going to be have that Stand United coming down as well. So you've got the tankiness on the Skarner alongside a 5th member joining you as well if you're looking at that bottom side. So right now, though, they're looking to shut that down.
Yeah, they're looking to shut it down immediately. Great combination of CCs there from Rifty and Dan means that they are taking out Dan XD. Dan on Dan violence needs to stop, okay? It just needs to stop right now. But great play, very clean, nothing really expended either. And that's such a horrible way to die, especially just after using your TP top.
Yeah, but Demo is looking towards mid. Godbro, nice little skip away there will keep him nice and safe. But this is what we want to see from Wind and Rain right now. Their win condition right now is to try and get Rift ahead and make sure that he's the one controlling this top lane. Not only does it give them the option of that split push later, but it's shutting down exactly what we just talked about, where the play can come through from Stand United. So now, if it's Rift who's ahead, got that Sheen, the second Shen leaves the lane, he's going to put a huge amount of damage onto this top lane turret, which is exactly what they want to be doing, making sure that they have an answer for anything that Hyperion want to throw at them. So good on Dan at the moment to, as you're saying, the Dan on Dan violence, but shut down Dan XD in the top lane, make sure that he's limited in his options.
Will be limited, but will have that Stand United, like you said, to be able to join in team fight, to be able to kind of still be relevant for his team. As you see, Camille down in this bot side, gonna actually gonna go for an early swap, Wind and Rain. They want to be able to kind of keep Dan XD on his toes, make sure that they can't get any pressure, any significant pressure anyway. As the rest of the side just kind of wait to see what they can and can't do. And I kind of like what's going on in this mid lane here from Emmy. Emmy's used his, you know, his Unsealed Spellbook to really kind of get himself a foothold in this game. Make sure he's constantly up on C, or even equal on CS with this Azir. And that's not something we normally see with a Castellan against an Azir. Normally Azir is quite the oppressive, you know, movement as such. But I'm going to stop talking about that for a quick second as we see Zach, Dan coming in on Dan XD, not able to get anything else other than a couple of slaps on the back, and they're going to have to back away.
This is something I really like to see against the Shen in particular, and it's one that really works just against the Shen, is moving your bot lane up towards the top lane earlier on in the game, because it means that then you shut down, as we're saying, that Stand United pressure, because you end up entering into this 1v2 scenario. And actually, as I say that though, Godbro gets flash impaled, and he will go down. Demo picking up that kill. Didn't quite use the Emperor's Divide quick enough, and that is a great advantage there for Hyperion. They get themselves a nice little foothold in this mid lane. Yeah, one of the worst things about playing against a Skarner as Azir is that even if the Emperor's Divide goes down, oftentimes you can find yourself caught out anyway, and that's exactly what we saw. And that's the first bit of pressure that we've really seen Demo put down, and you can see that he's focusing heavily on this mid lane, wanting to get this Castellan ahead. If they can open up this map a little bit, get the Castellan opening towards this 1-3-1 scenario, it's going to be a lot better for Hyperion. They shouldn't really have an answer on the side of Wind and Rain. But at the moment, again, we're going to go back to a little bit of a stalemate. Just because Wind and Rain swapped up to try and shut down Shen, it's now been answered by the bot lane of Hyperion moving up that way as well. They recognized that they were in a little bit of trouble, moved their counterpart up there as well. So now we're going to go back to, I was going to say a bit of an easy point, but looking at where these junglers are positioned, I'm not too sure if that's going to be the case.
Don't do it, Daijin. Don't get baited. He's smarter than that. He backs away. We do have another pause, though, ladies and gentlemen. Again, apologies for that. But this isn't... For all the kind of... Apart from bot lane, obviously, where Varus Braum should be beating out an Ezreal Alistair, this isn't the lane dominance I was expecting from Wind and Rain. They aren't exactly getting what they want from everything. Yes, they got the Camille a little bit ahead, which is fantastic, but... You know, the Shen will still be able to kind of wave clear, will still be able to do everything he needs to do. I just want to know, are they being a little bit too lackadaisical with this early game?
I don't think they are. I actually think it's Hyperion have a good read on them. One of the big things that I was going to touch on, but we kind of jumped across to a fight, was when you are up against the Shen, what you'll see is teams rotate the bot lane up early. You end up in this 1v2 scenario where you just try and push in a lot harder, because Shen in the early stages, particularly only at that level 6 point, doesn't have the wave clear there. You can push in towards that lane or that tower incredibly fast, but it also means that it stops something like a 5-man dive in the bottom lane, or stops the 4-man dive in the bottom lane, where you get that Shen ultimate coming down as well, and it's incredibly difficult to deal with. And when you end up in a 1v1, you always lose that tower rush anyway. So that was a way of them to stop it. But Hyperion, the second that back went through, they were already rotating top, so there was no pressure at all on the top side. There was that one gank that went to nothing because DanXD was already backing. So Hyperion are actually just playing well, but as I say that, I don't know about this one.
I kind of feel like this was a little bit of a bait. They stun up Dan. He's going to have to use his Let's Bounce to try and get out of there, but he only has so much longer to go for it. Ignite goes down onto Daishin. He's going to be taken very, very low. Now Emmy's in the mix of things, and that is a 4-man jump onto the Dan on Wind and Rain. Hyperion come out with the kill. I feel like they knew he was there.
Yeah, they might have, but that was a fantastic play coming through from then. And even though DanXD didn't manage to join the fight, just having that shield there kept his teammates alive long enough for Rift now.
That is that was a lot of damage there, Dan. It's Rifty, when he doesn't hit that, that stun off of the wall bounce, he needs to be so careful. That hookshot is a fantastic tool, but it's also your escape as well as your initiation. You need to be very careful with how you use that. And Hyperion, I feel like they've taken a little bit of momentum. Now the question is, can they keep it?
Well, this is why we saw Hyperion ignoring DanXD in the top. Well, not ignoring to a certain extent, but leaving him to his own devices in the top lane, because they knew that Shen will beat out the Camille at these early stages of the game. It's inevitable. But actually, as I say that, more fights going to happen in the top side.
Yeah, they're going to go with more fights as we see Labrov maybe getting stunned up, does get his ultimate out of him. Demo still has the Impale. You could see him teasing it a little bit. But that's a big cooldown down. Now they know they can't go for a dive into the side of Hyperion, as Wind and Rain won't have the tankiness to really go for it.
Yeah, I doubt they'd really be looking for that at the moment. Anyway, you can see, again, Dan is down on that bottom side, trying to help out Camille in whatever way he can. But the problem is that this opens up Demo, as we're seeing right now, to go and influence the mid lane and the bottom side, or sorry, the bottom lane's side of the map as well. And this is something that War are going to struggle against now at the moment because of how far. Yes, Rift has the advantage in the CS, but he's actually losing out the trades, which is causing a lot more pressure for them. And now you can see as well, Emmy is starting to work up towards the items that he needs, so he's going to be an absolute nuisance in this mid lane as well. Don't let the CS advantages fool you just at the moment. Yes, they are helpful for Wind and Rain, but they should certainly be in these advantages with the amount of pressure that Azir has over the castle in the early stages of the game, but also with how much pressure Dan is exerted over onto the Camille and Shen matchup. You can see now it's starting to equal up, but this is still quite a big win for Hyperion if they're able to keep them in the place that they have them at the moment.
We'll have to wait and see. Hyperion, they've got themselves back on pretty much equal goals, and it's only 12 minutes in, but you can see how much concentration, how much kind of movement they had to put into this just to actually get to this point of the game. And I know that sounds very kind of condescending or very, demeaning towards them, but Wind and Rain are the real deal. They're kind of tipped off to be at least a finalist team, and if they're not, they would be disappointed with anything less. So this is a huge undertaking by Hyperion, and it's got to be credit where credit's due. They've done well to this point, but like I said again, can they hold this? Because War have a habit of just taking any small mistake you make and turning it into their massive advantage.
Yeah, they've kind of been playing on easy mode for the last few minutes, simply because when you look at what's been happening, like item-wise for these champions, Xmadi has gone the cold, just completed his Manamune, so wasn't really looking to fight too much in the early stages of the game. Even looking at Labrov, who went for the Unsealed Spellbook as well, means he's not even going to be as tanky as some of the Alistairs that you'd regularly see. So these are all guys who are playing for those slightly later stages of the game, where you're going to be looking towards, as we were talking about at the beginning, the Triforce spikes that are going to come through for both the Camille and the Ezreal, and also the item spike points for Godbro on the Azir. This is where we're really going to start to see them kick into gear. So they're going to be looking from easy mode, which they've been kind of playing on at the moment, to a much more difficult pressure-based game once these items come on board, which is going to be very, very shortly. And that's when we're going to see Dan start to open up on the map. He's been relatively quiet at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for these tower dives, particularly when we're looking at this top side of the map. They can very quickly have several members join up there if they want to try and get onto this very immobile Varus.
Yeah, looks like they might actually go for something in the mid lane, as Emmy Rift walks away. They force the ultimate out, but they do get the impale onto Dan. I don't know if that was the actual target they really wanted or needed. Labrov does come back in as well with a head buff pulverized combo. Nothing else shall be said about that. And I think, like you said, Hyperion, especially Demo, I must admit, has had just a good read at where Dan on this Zac is going to be and when he needs to be counter ganking. He's been a little bit slower, but he doesn't want to be the one initiating. He wants to be the one who comes in after they've used all their ways of getting out, then use the impale, and then secure the kill for his team. So I got to admit, Demo, he's impressing me a little bit.
Yeah, most certainly is, and the amount of pressure that he's been able to put down has been exceptional for Hyperion and has really helped them mobilize themselves through this early stage of the game. You see, again, he's visiting this top side of the map, and this is all just about trying to chip away at this turret. Once they start to get some of these towers down, they'll be able to look towards that 1-3-1 style, but at the moment, they haven't been quite able to find a foothold, and this does actually start to play a little bit into Wind and Rain's favor. We're talking about how strong these guys are going to be around the objectives, the team fight scenarios that can come down when you've got that Zac engage. The Ezreal is going to be moving across the place. You've got that Azir as well, who does great at controlling these zones. It's going to be kind of difficult for them to find fights favorably on Hyperion's side up against the team composition that currently War has. So this is where I'm starting to question if Hyperion are actually going to be able to find the fight, but right now they found Maddie.
They have found Maddie, and he's going to go down immediately. Why Flash? You're never going to survive it. As I say that, though, Emmy gets jumped in by Dan. Flash is away from Rift, so not exactly getting what they wanted just there. Good taunt there onto the Camille means that he's taken down very, very low. Nice Let's Bounce, bring everybody back into the team, shoving Dan XD back into the fight. Now they have got Labrov now here as the supports try and join into this fight. Godbrov untouched throughout that entire skirmish means that he's able to do huge amounts of damage. Ends up being a 1-for-none in favor of Wind and Rain. They may be able to get this turret. In fact, they will be able to get this turret 100%. They're starting to pick up the pace a little bit. You're seeing it one by one, little bit by little bit. They are starting to get those advantages that Hyperion just can't respond to.
Yeah, this is the thing. If Hyperion fall behind, they are in a heap of trouble. They don't have the wave clear available to deal with the likes of Godbro and Maddie pushing down on them in these siege scenarios. The only person with really any sort of wave clear at the moment is going to be the Varus, because Shen is going to be off split pushing in the side lanes doing Shen things. So once that comes down to it, it's going to be quite hard for them, if they do end up being the ones in the back foot, to shove out the waves, get control back of the map. They really need to be the ones in the driving seat. And Wind and Rain, we were talking about it, the second that they started to look towards that 2 items coming through, they start to turn it on, and we can see the beginning of it right now. They make that dive in the mid lane, which was successful to get that mid lane turret. Now they've got the Mountain Drake, but Rift.
Oh, he's so close to going down. Just about got that max range hook shot. As they just try and slow him down. They need to pick up something. They've lost the dragon. They will pick it up. That goes over to Hyperion's EU Twisted. They will have to try and make a play, because right now they may be learning in the kills, but they're losing the structures, the global objectives. Dragons, turrets are all going in favor of Wind and Rain.
Yeah, and on Wind and Rain's side, you're completely fine with this. Yes, you didn't want to have Rift give over a kill, but you've already kind of sunk. Like, you've already lost this top lane turret. That's what they were trying to sacrifice when they went for that mid lane dive. You can see that they left the Varus on the top side, so they already accepted that that was gone. What they don't want to accept is this mid lane turret going down.
No, they don't accept that one there, and that's actually pretty key for Wind and Rain to keep up as well. You open up so much of the map if you're able to take down that turret. It's why Wind and Rain were able to make that play in the bot side and onto Dragon. They had so much control, as you can see by the pink wards. Just so much ways that they can go in and out without, you know, any fear realistically. But you know, it's only a 2,000 gold lead. It's only a 1 turret lead, and that mid turret is very, very low now. I imagine the top lane turret will also go down very soon in favor of Wind and Rain. Hyperion, they're trying to keep up with this, but it's just a little bit too quick right now. They need to try and find a way of slowing down this game.
Yeah, War realized how important that mid lane tower is to them, and that's why you can see that they actually sacrificed the flash on the Alistar to TP to that tower to keep it. If that lane goes down, that tower goes down, this becomes a massive issue for them. You can see how easy it is for Demo to move in, particularly, don't forget, now that Tracker's Knife is out of the game, it's so much easier for teams to get in and be skirt around the vision control that the enemy team has. And when you've got one tower in the top lane gone, the mid lane tower as well, it becomes so much easier for Demo to get down and start a fight, or even tower dive, whatever poor unfortunate soul is left underneath that bottom lane turret. This is why they were so desperate to hold on to it, and why you're going to see them throw a lot of resources into keeping this mid lane there, because once that goes down, it plays so well into Hyperion's game.
And we see now a little bit of a duel in the bot lane with these top laners. Jungler Dan going to come in as well. That's the TP burned, but not fully completed. Emmy will get a little bit of a reduced cooldown on that, but still a global down for the side of Hyperion, who will be looking to go for that 1-3-1 setup with the Cassidy and the Shed, who naturally just feed into that kind of a setup so well.
Yeah, Rift will eventually start to win out in this split push, but right now he's a long way from doing so, and that's why you can see Dan XD punishing so heavily, and Dan is on the other side is being called down to deal with them, but they're not quite able to find the kill, not quite able to find the pressure that they need. So it will be Shen able to pick up the remainder of this wave as it begins to crash in towards that bottom lane turret. But Hyperion have started to open up the map a little bit, moving into, as you were saying, the 1-3-1. Cassin is in the top side, wants to begin shoving in that lane, drawing members out, and this is going to cause a little bit of a dysfunctional mid lane for the side of Wind and Rain. 2 members on the top side of the map mean that there's more people from Hyperion in the mid lane, might be able to push in towards this mid lane turret, but Wind and Rain seem to have realized that the lane assignments aren't quite on point and are recovering themselves by bringing down Ezreal and Labrov.
Yeah, they're trying to just kind of keep their pressure going. They know they have the better engages. They know they have the kind of better pressure when it comes into those kind of, you know, big 4v4 or 5v5 team fights. They just need to make sure that they're picking the right moments, because we've seen a couple of times with a couple of different teams throughout this tournament, they don't quite get the right moments down perfectly, and it does go a little bit hayward and can delay a game or even end a game if you don't get it right. We've seen over the weekend as well a very interesting Tam Kenschult into the mid lane with the for the side of for the side of Wind and Rain. So I imagine they will not want to be doing that again.
No, they most certainly won't be. But speaking of casualties in the mid lane,
yeah, we'll see what's going on. Nothing really crazy though just now. Good Shen ultimate means that EU Twisted will be protected. TPs though, double TP coming in. They're going to be able to pick up 2 people with the Let's Bounce, but it's 2 of the tankiest members, and Godbro gets deleted. This is looking very, very good right now for the side of Hyperion as they just try and take down the tanky members. Another one goes down. Rifty off to the side, but not able to find anything. Wind and Rain, I talked about botched engages. That was one of them, and it was so sloppy.
Yeah, this is where it's incredibly hard for Wind and Rain to defend against this if they're going to let themselves push out that far in the top side of the map. Oh, actually, as I say that.
Yeah, here we go again. We're going to see another engage, but Shen is playing keep away as everyone just tries to back away. Dan now finds himself just kiting back away. Hextech ultimatum onto Dan XD means he is going to fall, but Rifty will fall for it as well. As Demo goes in, he gets the stun. Daijin picks up that one, and again, Wind and Rain overextend. Hyperion capitalized.
They thought they could take the fight with the Varus back in the base, but it was not enough. You can see how much damage is capable of coming through from Emmy and from Demo in these fights, able to take down multiple members that time around, and you can see that they are starting to move towards kind of a desperation play. Yes, they're 8-3 behind, but it's only 1,000. Actually, Wind and Rain are 1,000 gold up nearly in this fight as well, so I'm not sure why they're trying so desperately to find these fights. And I also don't know what way they're trying to play these lanes as well. I was going to touch on it just before that fight, is they are playing with, so when you're looking at the Skarner pick, Skarner is looking for people who are overextended in their lanes, particularly when he has the Predator, that Righteous Glory completed as well. He's looking to just run you down, and the longer you make the top lane by shoving out these waves so ridiculously far, rather than just freezing it and letting people pick up free farm, essentially, it becomes a lot more, it plays just into Hyperion's favor. But instead, they're putting Massey and Labrov up to try and keep Massey safe from that engage, which means that then there's multiple members who can just go for the fight in the mid lane, and that's what we found. But Maddie's been caught out again.
Maddie's been caught, and you can just see how much they're investing into all this kind of I just don't understand why Wind and Rain are trying to get from this right now. Camille hasn't pushed anything up. You don't have established vision control. Just reset. They just don't seem to find that little step. It's like the missing link in the evolutionary tree. And as I say that, now Dan is going to try to come in with Labrov and Godbro to try and finish off something off on the backside, while Camille does put pressure down on the bot side.
Yeah, they're just trying to delay for the Camille.
Yeah, we're going to see if they can, though. Will they lose anything off of this? They will get Godbro out of here. Labrov will take a lot of damage, but will end up getting out himself alive. Dan goes crazy in, does get the shutdown, gets 2 kills as Godbro just puts in so much damage. It's a triple kill for the Azir, and Rifty hasn't even left. This is huge for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, that is not the place that you want to be fighting as Hyperion. You've already used so much to get the pick onto Maddie that there's nothing left for you to do, particularly in these small corridors of that jungle. Dan is going to have an excellent slingshot in. Godbro is begging you to fight there so he can wail through you with multiple soldiers. And this is the worst that could happen for Hyperion. They end up losing the bottom lane turret, they end up losing the fight, and now they've lost the Baron as well. We're commending them for how well they played this fight and how well they played this game. But they overextend a bit too far, and you said it before, Blood Penguin. Give Wind and Rain an inch, they will take a mile, and they have taken a mile tenfold.
I suppose the only way I can put it as I try and formulate my words is that I am dumbfounded, because you have so many advantages for you there, Wind and Rain. Yes, fair enough, Rifty was on the bot side, you're going to lose an ender turret, but you can now deal with that. They've lost so much. They've lost tempo. They've lost the 5,000 gold lead. You do not want to be behind if you're looking for a split push comp. It's just not going to work out for you. And this Azir getting those 3 kills puts him right on the map. Now he's got it along with his Nash's Tooth. He's got a Leandri's Torment and a Void Staff. He is massive. He will just 100% delete people as this game goes on. But as I say that, though, we're actually going to see Demo running into Rifty. See if he can actually get something off this. He will be able to get it, and an overextension without vision is probably going to be the meme of this game. Both sides completely disrespecting the engage the others have.
But this is where I was saying Skarner shines. Demo is waiting for people to start to push up without pressure in other lanes. This is where Skarner can just pick you off so easily, and that's what we found, and now the pick off begins again.
Now they're going for Godbro, and they're going to be able to delete him straight away. Matty on the backside just can't do enough damage. Now he's been caught out, and Hyperion have found fight after fight after fight. They're just, this Baron buff means nothing now. You've lost it on nearly everybody on your team, and Hyperion want to go for the mid lane.
Yeah, they are going to shove in the mid lane, and I got to question what's happened to Wind and Rain. These are mistakes that they would not have made whatsoever before this. I don't know if it's just that they aren't used to playing into a Skarner pick, but you cannot put pressure in any lane unless you've got it across the board, because this is exactly what happens.
This is what happens to you, Twisted, though. It's a 4-man knockup, though. Will they be able to get anything off this? They're putting in so much on top of the Twisted Fate. But, or sorry, not the Twisted Fate, excuse me, the Varus. And they will end up losing 2 people to this fight. Not quite 2, though. They had to back away a little bit, but they gain another kill. They gain more tempo. Ew, Twisted, they invested everything to try and kill him, but then Emmy, he's still huge, he's still a Cassidy. You can't just leave him alone to just do all that damage.
Exactly, 5 kills apiece on both of these carries means that they are in great spots to go and fight in these, anywhere around these objectives. Like, you can see it. Actually, as I say that, Emmy, just needs to do a quick skedaddle out of there, but you can see the damage that can come through, and we touched on it a little bit in Champ Select, where Godbro and Labrov have to control these fights so then they can force Hyperion away. Otherwise, they run the risk of being deleted, and that's what we saw with Emmy there. Now we can see Demo pops the Righteous Glory to try and get in, but hasn't quite found a way. Looking still for the engage, though.
Oh, they're looking at the Varus ultimate misses. Labrov uses that as a moment to go in, but he immediately gets cut off. But they've caught the carries, and this is huge for Wind and Rain. Double kill over to the Ezreal. Maybe they look for more. This Emperor's Divide will divide this team fight. 4 for nothing. They have got a little bit of Baron, or sorry, not Baron, bannered up minion. They might look for the end right here.
This could definitely be the end. This Banner of Command minion can tank so much. It's going to be on Emmy. Actually, the teleport as well comes in to keep it safe as well.
It's done. It's over.
Yeah, Lavrov is pushing them away, and that's going to be the second tower going down.
That is, Nexus is falling, and in one fell swoop, Hyperion see all their hopes and dreams fall. Wind and rain, it wasn't pretty, but they got the result they wanted. They pick up the W, and that was a close one.